I know there's people out there that get wrapped up in, these astral travels, taking psychedelics, channeling from Akasha or channeling from wherever. And when you go into the underworld, it's very convincing. Very convincing. The Twilight Zone, as some people call it. And the way psychology has us attuned, and the way this culture is attuned, which is upside down and backwards, it's attuned to destroy love, to destroy the God out of people, to put demons in everybody, and then to demonize everything, and then sort it out later. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, he's not as dumb as us. Wow, that's crazy. Or, oh, I thought he was dumb and we hoped he was dumb. Or, oh, wow, Hezekiah really didn't make him go mad. He was just playing us. Wow, I really hope he went mad. Yeah, I hope he dies. All that shit. All that shit you're talking and you're subliminal to people. There's people out there that pick up on that. Especially empaths and people with intuition. And when people get inundated with information, they have trouble explaining themselves, okay? So when you catch somebody in that time, they might be having trouble explaining themselves. Psychology does nothing to aid that or to facilitate that or to carry these people over this abyss that they've fallen into. Nietzsche fell into the abyss, fell into it. A lot of people. And I can only fucking imagine the hell that they go through when they come out of one of these experiences and they take like the left-hand path or something because they don't know any better, because they're not being taught, because psychology's worthless. My heart bleeds. I can only imagine how stuck inside their flesh they are. You can't get out of that. You're stuck. You can't get on a plane and get away from that. You can't pull out all your hair and get away from that. You have to die to that. And it sucks. It's like death on the cross. But it's got to be even worse for those people because they come out of this experience like, wow, I really figured something out. And maybe I need a little help and I don't know how to explain everything. And everyone's just like, oh, you're crazy. That's stupid. What about this guru here? And they divide and they go huddle off into their, well, me and my guru. And they think it's less selfish because it's a bunch of birds of a feather flocked together doing all that selfish nonsense. Well, me and my guru, me and my, and all this shit. I can only imagine the fucking hell that they're put back into. And then it looks like their symptoms are getting worse. But it's the society and psychology that's making their symptoms worse. And I have an interesting statistic of, I'll have to show it to you. It's about gifted people. Gifted people saw less mental illness, but the incredibly gifted people with this society rejects and shuns and then has academic professors doing 360s like, where are these people at? They have the highest suicide rate. So the people that academic professors are looking for are killing themselves. And they're getting ridiculed. They don't have any help to go to. They don't have anyone to talk to. It's crazy. And one person can't handle all that. You don't go up on a seminar and just... You're not reaching those kind of people. And those people are just being shut in a closet and drugged. That's all they're doing is drugging them. Drugging the daylights out of them. And then they say, oh, well, the medicine helps stabilize their symptoms. Well, the symptoms are an effect, like an idea. So you should be able to clear up the ideas and the effects, which comes from the ideology. Right? So if I really believed I was Jesus, then I'd be crazy. Yeah, I would you'd probably have some Charles Manson moments if you didn't take it lightly with a splash of comedy. Okay? And that's kind of how I take it. And I let the deeds and my actions speak for themselves. The mechanics of things. Psychology and academia can't even get into what are the mechanics and the fruits of things. Because then they'll see things for real. And then they'll have to own up to things that they were neglecting in the past. And that's what they don't want to do. They don't want to answer to the consequences in the past. But they're the ones that fucked everyone up. These academic professors, this science, this scientific method. Scientific method is the biggest garbage in the world because it's skipped over every basic subtlety out there. It's astonishing. It's pathetic, really, for scientists to get up there and be like, I'm a scientist. And then for them to look for intelligent life with radars and everything else, when the most intelligent life down here is fucking killing themselves. And you want to tell me, like, maybe there's not a big old scam behind all this fucking space jizz nonsense? NASA? All that garbage? You know? If you look up, there's an article that says, school robs us of our creative genius. And it's an article by NASA, okay? And that's what school does. Robs us of our divinity, robs us of all our creativity, and then you got the same robbers trying to go out there and be like, oh, look how creative I am. Oh, Zoidberg tentacles trying to suck you in and reel you in. And they're not creative. They don't know how to creative problem solve on anything. They have no clue. They're out there just snake oiling, biting people with venom. Oh, he's stupid. Oh, the left. Oh, the right. Oh, the left. Oh, the right. And science has never once stepped in because they'd be guilty and they'd dissolve themselves, especially atheists. They've never once stepped in and said, you know what, guys? We're all saying the same thing. You're saying I'm wrong. He's saying I'm wrong. We're both saying the same thing. What other similarities can we find? Because those are higher than actually what's going on. Two people aren't different. They're both the same, saying they're different. So you have to... And this is something that science should have had licked fucking aeons ago. Aeons, bro. I'm talking a long one. Hail Mary. Like you would have to Hail Mary pass back to the time where they fucked up. And that's Back to the Future. Once I hit this detonator, once my friend Shiva, he hits this detonator, it's going to be Back to the Future. So say everyone in this part of the future went wrong. Let's say this circle is a future where they went wrong. And all these paths are out here. And we stopped way back here. We stopped doing the future and we just started getting piled down in the past. We're going to go back to the future. That's fucking way weird. Talk about time travel. We're going to time travel all this bullshit off. Oh, he's toxic. He did it toxic. Back on out here. I'll save you. Oh, he's bad. He's toxic. Oh, Daddy the dragon. What do you think, buddy? I keep it simple. I like to keep it simple. So there's a lot of powerful experiences out there. The experiences can be very convincing. Maybe sometimes they are real. Okay, we have to keep that in mind. Can't just blow everything off as that was a drug experience. Then why are you taking the drugs to begin with? Well, I don't know. So you can fill your head with more illusions to challenge yourself to overcome? Isn't that the stupidest thing you've ever heard? Yeah, just go out and purposely hurt myself so I can build a pain tolerance to get over it. So what, you can live in a world full of pain better? So you can sit around like, I do math. I can add up 1 and 2. Doesn't look like it to me. Looks like all you know how to do is get whipped, take notes, work and consume like a slave. And until that alarm hits you, you don't know what the fuck to do, or where you're at, or why. And I can only imagine the people that don't have the proper help to go to. And at this moment, it's hard for me to be that. I can't play all these positions, but that's what I wanted to do. That was my dream that they robbed me of. They robbed me of my dream. But I wanted to help people through these processes, get a kind of system down so that it would be easy to troubleshoot these things for psychology. You know, especially with all this, legalize peyote and legalize this, legalize that. Let's all take ayahuasca or whatever the frig it's called and do DMT in the bushes with the guy who eats cake, Johnny Cash, and the meme. In my comfort memes. I went from comfort food to comfort memeing. Aren't you proud of me? That's another thing. People worship things like pride. I don't have pride, so when you take a swing at my pride, you're gonna miss me every time. Me. The big fucking Mahat. Fucking Al Bundy you. From the fucking 900,001 court line. Yeah, that's right. And, you know, like I was saying in the other video on psychology, psychologists don't know what they're doing. They don't have any humor. They're not even funny. They're not even creative. Especially when they're dealing with someone that really needs that stuff. Then they're more defensive and paranoid. That's the worst way to be. Because then it's like, the dogs respond in the same way. If you're not calm, confident, and have poise, the dog's going to be like, this dude's nuts. I do not want to follow him. I do not want him leading me. And dogs are a pack structure animal. They need a leader. So you have to be a leader to them. You can't beat them. You can't yell at them. You can't hit them. And stuff like that. Working with dogs is so much easier. And they catch on quick. They're willing to please. They're not willing to do the wrong thing. Because they want the treats. They want the reward. They want the praise. They like knowing the results of the game. Once every result of the game is all predictable, then they're like, wow, this is cool. It's not even like training. You know, never alpha roll the dog or anything like that. And that's never what you would do in a psychology session anyhow. I doubt any psychologists have ever done that, but at times there is these weird fucking gray areas where you do have to do that with like narcissists and things like that. But people that are really having mental troubles that get like put in a hospital and they're like hearing voices and shit, they're like trapped in the underworld with a bunch of dead echoes. Imagine being able to tap into a place where you can hear every echo in time ever. The guy over the street that thinks no one heard him. Say, son of a bitch. And he's out back. Nobody's out there. His breath gets saved into the aether. And then it goes down into the underworld place. And it's just echoes of all kinds of things. And your frequency, I believe, is what would pick up the echoes once you go into the underworld. So you want to get your frequency ready first. Then you want to try doing these psychedelic weird things or whatever, if that's what you're into. I don't really do drugs like that, but I have before. I've done a lot of psychedelics and rave parties and ketamines and LSDs. I've tried all that. It's a cheat. It's a way to cheat. Once you cheat, you get the idea. Then you build yourself into the idea that you have, that you remember, the state of being that you remember getting out of the experience. You don't keep taking drugs. You don't keep using drugs or any of that, or you're just going to fall apart. It doesn't work like that, I don't think. Well, and if it does, why don't you just take the easier way? It's easier just to not do drugs. If you want to smoke pot or whatever, smoke pot, cool. Have some beers every now and then. But people that go to the bar, they're locked in their flesh, they go to the bar, they drink their gin, spirits, their lesser spirits. Those people are going to have to take a collapse before they can build back up again. Like a rock bottom. They call it hitting rock bottom. And I can only imagine when somebody hits rock bottom, they get sent to a mental institution. They don't have anyone to talk to or relate to. They're isolated then at that point inside themselves. Then they might get further isolated into a room of isolation. And it's brutal. It's like, that's satanic to me. That's how you really breed some fucking demons. Spirit cook. You boil somebody in their fucking corpse. And they're just... They go mad. That's what's going on out there. Somebody supercharges the left with, we're getting so far ahead. They're spirit cooking them. Then the left's like, we're gonna get there! We're gonna fucking win! What's a race to where? Oh, I don't know. But they're winning, they said so. People do a lot of mouth stuff. And that's the thing about words. You take a power and meaning out of the words. Like somebody calls me stupid, crazy, uncool. My biggest fear in life that I was never going to be cool. People call me not cool nowadays. It's like nothing. It rolls right off like water on a duck's head. But I had to subject myself to so many times of putting my foot in my mouth on purpose to get rid of this ego, I guess people call it, or whatever you want to call the thing. I'm so tired of the terminology, man. And people say, oh, he doesn't really know what he's talking about, or all this other stuff. And then they, on one hand, in science, it says, oh, well, people could do things better than they can explain them. Yeah, that's how it is. So not everybody's going to be able to explain themselves to a therapist. Therapist has to know what to look for, things like that. Their by-the-book method is total garbage. They sit there with their little spell book grimoire, and they're like, you're this guy in the book. What, is that Waldo, or which one's that? Which one's this guy? And their book is like this thick. But the psychologists don't appear in that book not one time. That book can wrap the whole world up fucking 5 times. And sell everybody a pill. Get everybody on a prescription plan. Except for the doctors, right? And that's not a privilege of some kind. Well, I don't even read books or any of that. I dropped out in 9th grade. I'm pretty privileged myself, and that's what the white man hates about me, is that I don't have to go to his stupid seminars, his stupid learning facility institutions. I'm not really even into personal growth. I'm fucking 36 years old. I'm not into going out seminaring on personal growth. Hey, this is, I'm, sitting with Jordan Peterson. We're doing personal growth, man. Teaching the kids. That's another thing. If you're teaching, you have people's attention. They're mesmerized. You have to keep track of all that because you're creating a gravity. And you got to be able to let the people go. After you're done teaching them, you can't sit there and just hold them there forever and trap them in this idolatry, which forms quantum xeno effects, which causes arrested development. Quanta is all energy. There isn't anyone out here who's superior to energy. Okay, so you can lie to yourself, but we can't lie to energy. Okay, we can lie to ourselves and each other, but we can't lie to the universe. So if you're acting like a dipshit and troll, then probably somebody gonna send down the troll god. Maybe you get Donald Trump or something else. I don't know. But the universe matches the frequency. And while everybody's blame shifting, I notice that the universe is just matching a frequency. And they don't even need intelligence briefings. And then you can sit there and play them with mirror magic. And I think that's a lot of what Donald Trump does. If you look into what he does behind the scenes, he's even less abusive than academic professors. He's caused less damage. Now, over time, could he destroy us all? Possibly. I don't know. But right now, he's done less damage than academic professors and the university teachers that everyone signed up for. So he almost gets to hold them hostage and be like, well, what about these guys? Ooh, and then he gets to come out and be like, well, I saved you from them guys. And the devil, he's really tricky. And if you think you're going to beat the devil playing some shit-ass game like that, you're not. Not ever. Not one time. And that's one of the things that these psychopath criminals get away with. Useful idiots. They find a useful idiot, take him hostage. Well, what about this? He does it. Then everything's madness, mayhem again. And, you have hypocrites being hypocritical until they're hypocritical about their hypocrisy. Hypocrisy of hypocrisy. Again, things are stacking up. When things stack up, you pitch away your power, you go half the speed in more effort. And whoever you're pitching your power away, or whoever knows some inside tips, let's say, they go double your speed. So it's no wonder you have 1% out there with all the money, and everyone down here is all mind controlled and fucking like, let's do pleb magic. Yeah, pleb magic sounds cool. Hey, let's go visit Tom. Yeah, Tom has MLGs. He's so cute. Let's go check out his MLGs. And all this garbage, man. All this Gamers Rise. Those were another bunch of group. A bunch of chads. Those were the biggest chads around. Gamers Rise Up. And they try to call me an incel and all this other crazy crap. Because I could play the women too. And I'd go to the women that were like, ooh, I know everybody wants me. And I would get inside their head. Yeah, because I was a pickup artist. Ha ha ha, I got you. I got you there, man. And just about any mistake you might make in this culture, you can pass it off to somebody else and be like, well, they do it. And then the criminals can just follow a little track where they hold everyone hostage like that, they slip out the back door. You're shooting fucking hostages and all sorts of crazy shit. Chasing straw men and shadows, chasing the Prince of Wales. That's all magic, and these mages don't seem to pick up on that at all. At all. I'm not impressed with your magic. I'm not impressed with your force powers. I'm not listening to anything you have to say about force powers. Not a darn thing. And I'm closing my mind. I'm not even being ignorant about it, because ignorance is the abyss. You get too ignorant, then you get desensitized. I'm just closing my mind about it. I'm going to go make a sandwich. Dominic likes coffee. He sticks to simplicities. Simplicities are always there. Music can't tell you no. You can always turn it on. When you're done, you just turn the music off. Simplicity. Keep things simple.